What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Drew Deeks channel. It is game day. The Montreal Canadiens are heading into Edmonton tonight for a 7 o'clock start, which is welcomed by East Coasters, I think. As Montreal Canadiens fans, we're used to the later starts when the Habs are out west. And of course, once they get to Vancouver this week, it's a 10:30 game. So we appreciate the Saturday night 7 o'clock start against Edmonton, don't we? Okay, so what we're going to go through today, a few quick topics. One of them first being, of course, that the Hab burglar Andrew Hammond has gone down with a hand injury. So Cayden Primeau has been recalled from Laval. Just announced yesterday by Kent Hughes, GM of the Canadiens, that Adam Nicholas was hired as Director of Hockey Development, which is actually a step up from what we expected him to be, because we know that he's a skills coach coming from Toronto, but he's actually going to be the Director of Hockey Development for the Canadiens, which is interesting. And then my topic, I'm going to give you guys who I think the three best candidates are for the captaincy of the Montreal Canadiens. I'm sure a lot of you guys have figured that out yourselves too, but let's talk about it because I think it's relevant based on the way the guys have been playing lately. So, as we know, the Hab burglar Andrew Hammond, 3-0. Really bad timing for him, especially given how good of a season he's been having with the Montreal Canadiens. A 920 save percentage, 3-0 in his starts with the Canadiens. So it's really too bad because, I mean, again, he's just been such a breath of fresh air for the Canadiens, rebooting his career, relaunching his career maybe in the NHL, proving that he can be a reliable backup goaltender. And the first thought that occurred to me about this injury was, now, it may have been on a very specific play, but I was like, man, is this just the most action he's seen in the last several years? Because, man, we made him move around a lot against Calgary the other night, a highly skilled Calgary Flames team. So maybe that's part of why he got injured. He was just, moving around so much. He was so active. He helped the Canadiens stay in the game based on the saves that he was making. So it's too bad to see, but the hand injury, however it happened, either way, it's just a tough loss for the Canadiens. Now, this is a big piece of news, I think, because we expected Adam Nicholas to be added to the Canadiens as a skills coach potentially. That's what his skill set comes from Toronto, is that he was a skills coach with the Toronto Maple Leafs. But this is a promotion, it looks like to me. Adam Nicholas is hired as the director of hockey development for the Montreal Canadiens. So that's a promotion to me. That's an interesting piece. And, right here for the Montreal Canadiens website, the announcement made yesterday: Nicholas joins the Canadiens after working with the Toronto Maple Leafs as a skills development consultant since 2019. He also had a similar role with the Chicago Steel in the USHL from 2019 to 22, as well as the UMass Lowell in the NCAA from 2013 to 2018. And Nicholas is, you guys probably already heard these facts right from the Habs themselves, but Nicholas is also the founder and owner of Stride Envy, a company that specializes in player skill development, specifically skating techniques. So we mentioned the outside the box thinking that Kent Hughes mentioned in his opening press conference when he got hired, that the Canadiens want to become younger, faster, a more offensively skilled and exciting team. So if you think about skating, that's not a bad, skill set to want to try to, give to the Montreal Canadiens in a higher capacity, I guess you could say, because we know that this is going to help them become that identity that Kent Hughes was of course talking about. So let's get into it, guys. Let's get into this. This is kind of not really a debate. I think it's pretty obvious who the candidates are for the captaincy of the Montreal Canadiens, but here are my top three candidates. And yes, of course, the big surprise, they are Nick Suzuki, Brendan Gallagher, and Josh Anderson. These three guys, I mean, pretty clear why they are the candidates that they are. We all know what their skills are. We all know what their, personalities are like a little bit, right? We all know what the intangibles that they can bring as potential captains, and all of them have worn the A and are wearing the A right now. Did I mention I interviewed Nick Suzuki? Did I mention how many times am I going to bring that up? That's why I made it short there, but I've mentioned it so many times in Habs tonight. It's just like this running joke because a proud moment for me at the beginning of my broadcasting career. Anyway, Nick Suzuki. So to me, it's very clear that the way Nick's been playing, and I didn't get a chance to mention this the other day in the game against Calgary, but what an unbelievable game from Nick Suzuki. Martin St. Louis said so far it's the best game he's seen out of Nick Suzuki. And there's another quote here I want to bring up from Ben Sherratt on Nick Suzuki based on the Calgary Flames game the other night. That's a big-time game. Now that he's played in the playoffs, talking about Suzuki, in big games, he shows up, and that's probably my favorite thing about him. He's a gamer, and he shows up in the big moments, and that's hard to find, especially in elite players. Now, we haven't had a player of Nick Suzuki's caliber, I can't remember the last time we have, to be honest with you. He kind of, as a leader, potential leader, he reminds me of Brian Giunta. Giunta was more of a quiet leader. He was a lead by example kind of leader. And I think that's what we're going to get out of Nick Suzuki. You're not going to get the rah out of him. But I mean, if you have Josh Anderson and Brendan Gallagher backing you up as your alternate captains, that's a pretty good setup for Nick Suzuki if he's going to captain this team. So I like the idea of that personally. And I think that I like leaders that lead by example best. That's why Martin St. Louis was a captain at one point. So guys that aren't about the rah, you want to get it done on the ice. That's what counts the most. It doesn't matter how good of a talker you are. It's how good of a player you are. And I think that's what qualifies someone to makes the best possible candidate as captain, is who does it the best on the ice, not who says it the best in the dressing room. So that's my reasons for that. Now we all know Brendan Gallagher, of course, is another great candidate, right? So I mean, look at him here. We know what Gally means to this team. Some part of me just doesn't know 100% if Gally is part of the long-term solution for the Montreal Canadiens. I think he very well could be. I'm not saying that he's not going to be, but I just wonder about the relationship, and at least in terms of the captaincy. I wonder about, the lack of respect Gally gets around the league from referees. You don't want to have a captain that doesn't get along with the referees, or doesn't have any respect, or not as much respect as you possibly could, because that does kind of matter to a certain extent. The refs do control the game, unfortunately, until that gets further addressed. But that's what concerns me is, Gally's reputation amongst referees around the league. So maybe that would be a factor. Maybe it wouldn't be. The Canadiens are probably not going to think about that if they really are going to name Gally as captain. They're going to pick him because they want him, and that's it. But Josh Anderson, another possible candidate. You can't really eliminate him as a potential captain, especially after, the words that he said right before Dom Ducharme was fired about how it wasn't fun to come to the rink anymore, how it just, it just wasn't a good time. And that was like basically the final press conference. I guess that was the New Jersey game when they lost, what was it, 7-1 or whatever the score was. And right after that, that was it. It was kind of the final nail in the coffin for Dom Ducharme, and he was gone. So to me, though, if you're going to absolutely pick a captain, and yeah, I got the jersey on, so I'm a little biased as a Nick Suzuki supporter, but in terms of the skill set that Nick Suzuki brings, and not to mention also the other night against Calgary, the amount of minutes he played, the longer shifts he played, the endurance that he has defensively, offensively, the faceoffs are getting better all the time. Like, there's just so many good reasons to have Nick Suzuki be your next captain. I think it's very clear to me. I know that Gally, as a veteran, has very much earned it, heart and soul guy. I just think that Gally's role can still remain the same, and he can still do what he does, and that's get in the kitchen of NHL goaltenders and hopefully get on the score sheet more often soon too. But I mean, we'll see what happens. But let me know what you guys think. I want to know your opinion. Who do you see as the next captain of the Montreal Canadiens? Personally, I think it's clear on my end, but I mean, maybe it's a little more clear on your end. What do you guys think? I want to know. So leave a comment down below. Appreciate the feedback, the support. I will see you guys tonight post game after the Oilers Habs game. My sister's going to be there, so that's going to be fun. So good to see that they're getting out to a full barn out west, and we're going to have full barn on March 12th at the Bell Center too. So that's something good to look forward to. All right, guys, thanks for the support. Leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts. We'll talk to you guys post game after Edmonton tonight. Cheers.